We will take the first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Capeside Press.
Hey, Angela. I've heard that there's beef with you and Michelle. I mean, did I miss something? Is this true?
There's no beef. I think I posted a screen grab of her kind of gargling, sucking up to Dana and Donald Trump on Instagram. So it just made me want to punch her a little more. I hate suck ups. I hate when people do that. So yeah, I think that's all that people are talking about if they're saying there's beef. But Michelle's been cool to me. I've been cool to her in person, and it's just gonna go down the way it's always gonna go down.
Not many people have had the career resurgence that you have had. I mean, can you just talk about that a bit? Because, cut from the UFC, you come back, it was up and down for a minute. What helped you out in terms of staying focused back when things weren't so good when you came back to the UFC all the time?
Well, it was a weird one because I lost to two really good opponents, Rose and Tisha, when I first got cut. Then I went on a 4-fight win streak and Invicta and won the title. And when I came back, I fought Andrade, who nobody else wanted to fight. So I've always been up against the hardest people, and I've always done well against them or been competitive against them. And for whatever reason, when it didn't go my way, I still didn't get the respect that people who were paying attention thought I deserved. So just having those motivators, people who don't know me, hitting me up and saying, "Hey, we really respect your skills. We can see your potential. We know you're going to be great one day." And of course, like the people who do know me, who do see me working hard in the gym, see me coming back after a loss the next day in the gym and working on my mistakes and trying to fix them and become a more complete fighter. Those people always help motivate me and help keep me grounded and allow me to block out all the naysay and block out that feeling that you get when you look at your record and it's not what you expected it to be, especially being an undefeated kickboxing fighter. It wasn't what I expected, but I know that I'm stronger for it, and I know that when I do get that title, I'll be able to keep it just because I've been through so many ups and downs, and I've been able to just see my mistakes and fix them.
You recently made your debut on the broadcast as an analyst. How did you prepare for that? Did Dominic Cruz just give you a crash course at Alliance, or how did it go?
It's pretty funny. Like I picked Dom's brain a bit. I picked Karen Bryan and Laura Senko. They were all like really supportive. I've known those guys for a long time, and my husband actually was a big help because he would give me this Michael Bisping impersonation when he would relay just back and forth banter. So we would kind of banter about the fight card and try to anticipate what would happen, and then I try to roll with his silly like Michael Bisping impersonation comments, and it was pretty fun. So I think all those things helped me just bring my best self forward when I did the broadcast, and I got a lot of good comments about it, so I'm pretty happy with how I did.
I mean, we all know Michael Bisping. Was his impersonation on point, or were you like, babe, that's not Mike at all?
It was pretty good. He's Scottish, so all the British guys, they kind of know each other's accents. It was a pretty good. I think it was spot on. He'll have to do it in front of Mike to get the verdict if it's good or not.
I mean, can we talk about a bit of history? Obviously, the first African-American female to headline a UFC event. Talk about that, and also the fact that you go into it, you talked about you were on a couple downs before. You've never been more popular. Female Cowboy Cerrone and everything. Just, can you describe having that accomplishment at this time in your career?
It's pretty exciting. Like I said, when I fought Andrade, I thought it was a big deal because her next fight was going to be a title fight. Um, but we weren't co-main event. We weren't main event. And now that I'm fighting Michelle and it's main event after being my first co-main event with my fight against Gedalia, it's just I can see the growth. I can see how far I've come when it comes to just just like the fandom that's attached to me. I can see how far I've come skill wise. And I think people are finally seeing the value in what I bring to the table and what I bring to the strawweight division in women's MMA. So it's awesome to see it all finally coming to fruition after so much hard work, after just grinding for so many years and trying to make a name for myself. I feel like it's finally all happening, and I couldn't be more excited.
Does it hit you, first African American female to headline a UFC, or does it just not creep into your mind that kind of level of accomplishment or that honor?
It's an honor. It really is, and it's hard for me myself to be proud of myself because I'm so hard on myself in general. Like I don't want to celebrate just being the main event. I want to celebrate winning the main event. I want to celebrate having the first title shot and winning the first title shot as an African American woman. So my goals are so much higher than that it's hard to sit back and realize how big of a deal it is, but it's a big deal. And if I was sitting on the sidelines, if I was just a fan, an MMA fan, and I saw that, I'd be like, oh man, go ahead girl, like get that win, because you rarely see a woman, a black woman in the position that I am in MMA. And I'm not sure why it's so different for women, for black women, as it is for black men, but I think the public is kind of starved for that demographic to be represented. So I'm hoping to bring more eyes to MMA, bring more fans to MMA, and yeah, I'm happy to carry the torch.
Final one from me, just back to business. What does Michelle Waterson bring as an opponent?
Michelle's tricky. She has her hip throw. She has pretty quick transitions. If she gets to the ground, she's pretty good at like getting to the back fast, or going to an armbar, or whatever. She's a good scrambler. So those are the things that I'll be looking for. Uh, just trying to hit her more, trying to draw out her attacks, draw out that push kick to the knee, all her little things that she tries to do to frustrate people, and making sure that I'm pushing the pace and not letting her get ahead of me with her volume. I think that's one of the reasons why she usually gets decisions that are close, and it's one of the reasons I usually lose decisions that are close, is that my volume will be close to my opponents. Even if my volume is more, I'll still lose a close decision. So I just have to up the pace. I have to be in her face, not let off the gas, and just mash her up.
Hey, thank you, Angela. Good luck.
Thanks.
We will take our next set of questions from Danny Segura with MMA Junkie.
Angie, you just mentioned that your career seems to be blossoming and you're getting all these opportunities. How does it feel to finally get the respect that you feel like you deserve? And also, when did you sort of feel like the tide was turning in your career?
I think after my first two, well, maybe back to the Escobar fight, I feel like that was a good reminder to myself of how dangerous I can be in there, and how versatile my striking was, and just the fact that I brought something to the table that a lot of girls in my weight class didn't have. So I think that was one of the first moments. But then after that, going on, getting two finishes in a row, the one in Mexico City and then the one in North Carolina. I think that's when people started paying attention, and they're like, man, this girl is actually something. We might have written her off a while back, but she's hit a good stride. She's figured herself out. Like she's just going in there and beasting out on people. So after that fight, then I got the call to jump into another fight in New Zealand. And I only had like, I don't know, like 2 weeks notice. And I think that's when people started picking up on the fact that I was about to have, I think, 6 fights in a calendar year, or not a calendar year, but 365 days. So that's when people were like, oh my God, she keeps fighting, she keeps fighting. So I think just me being as active as I've always wanted to be, I think Mick Maynard letting me be that active, and just bringing the fight every time I showed up. I never missed weight. I never looked slow or tired. You could never tell that I took the fight on short notice. And that's just been a product of my grind. Like I've always been like that. I've always been in the gym, even when I've had 7 months in between fights. I was in the gym the entire time, treating it like a job. And I think for anyone, if you just keep grinding like that, if you treat MMA, or if you treat whatever you're doing like a job, even if it's a hobby, if it's just some goal that you aren't sure that you're gonna accomplish, but you're really passionate about it. If you stay consistent, then you're always gonna get ahead. And I feel like that's finally happening. I'm finally seeing the product of all the work that I put in.
For sure. And you're in one of the best divisions in the UFC. Do you think if all these opportunities keep coming your way, you can become a big star in that division, one of the key players, main players at 115 pounds?
Oh yeah, that's the main goal. The main goal is to keep fighting, keep winning, keep just showing people how good I am, and just becoming more of a finisher too. I think that's a big goal of mine. And after getting those 2 finishes in a row, I know that I can. I know that it's within my ability in the UFC. Before, I've only been able to really knock out people outside of the UFC. But now that I've gotten some finishes inside the UFC, that's my main goal, is to be a finisher, to be one of the most dangerous women in the strawweight division, and to get the title. So yeah, a win over Michelle is definitely gonna put me up there. I think my last fight, if it had been a win, it would have put me up there already. So this is just my chance for redemption from that.
Yeah. And as far as you just mentioned how like obviously a win here would be very beneficial to your career, but as far as like maybe numbers or names, I mean, beating Michelle Waterson, a veteran of the sport, where do you think it'll put you in the division, and what kind of opponents will you be facing after?
I'm definitely thinking I'll be facing top five after that. But I don't even think that the top five are doing anything right now. Like I know some of them are moving up a weight class, some of them are pregnant, some of them are injured. So if there's no top five girls available, I'm calling out the champ. I think it's fair. I think in just the way the strawweight division is looking right now, I think the timing would be good. And if there's someone who is supposed to get the shot before me, I'm definitely willing to fight that person. But yeah, it really pissed me off when I saw an article about Gadelia versus Zhao Nan Yan, and they're like, oh, the winner of this fight could be the next person to fight for the title. I'm like, that should be me, because I felt like I beat both of those girls. So if I need to fight again after this one, I'm willing to. But honestly, I think a title shot would be fair.
For sure. All right, Angie. Well, best of luck this weekend. Looking forward to your fight.
We will take our next questions from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Angela, going back to a previous question, when your manager posted that image saying you were the first Black woman to headline a card, I saw it. I thought, wow, that's really awesome. That's really cool. But we are living in a very interesting time in our country in terms of the significance of something like that happening right now. I know you said you don't want to let it weigh on you too much with you want to be the winner in the main event, but what does it mean to you, the significance of this happening at this moment in time?
It's big, and I didn't even realize how big it was until he mentioned it to me. And I think I think in a time like this, people need heroes. People need someone to look up to, someone to root for, and just the fact that this hasn't happened yet is indicative of the fact that it is important. Like a lot of people will say, why does it matter? Well, if it doesn't matter to you, then that's okay, but it does matter to the fans who see that and they're like, finally, finally we have some representation, finally we have a face that's in the sport that we love, we've been waiting for it for so long. So yeah, it's really cool to be a part of that. The Black Lives Matters movement is just it's really important, and I think it's really important. I think people try to pretend that it's not, or try to call it things that it isn't, because it's hard to look at the violence. It's hard to say there's something wrong when you haven't experienced it yourself. And I think the reason it's so important to Black people is because they've all had moments where they felt in danger, or they felt like they weren't being considered as human as their white counterparts. And it's not something that disappeared when Obama got elected. It's not something that disappeared once cops got cameras on, or got body cams. It's something that's still hurting the community right now. And I think just with the pandemic going on, and uh with just you know everything just being so divisive right now, it's really brought it to light and really made people pay attention to how hard the struggles are, and the fact that there does need to be some change. So it's kind of a touchy subject for me, because it's I don't know. It's like, I wish I could do more. I wish I could do all the research and figure out ways to make America a better place, and what actions to take to help get justice for the people who have been killed unjustly, and just it's really hard to think of all that. And the easy thing for me to do is to fight. If this is something that I could do, if just carrying that burden into the cage is something that I can do, I'm happy to do it, because a lot of times I think a lot of us feel helpless, and it's yeah, it's just such a tough subject, and it gets under people's skin. But the reason it's so touchy is because it's such an important thing. um so yeah, I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent, uh but yeah, I'm happy just me doing what I would be doing no matter what. I'm happy that can somehow make a change, or somehow encourage people to keep fighting for what they believe in.
Absolutely, absolutely. You talked earlier about, also inspiring people, and we talked about representation, and you posted a tribute on your Instagram page to Chadwick Boseman when he passed away. And obviously, I know you're a big pop culture person like myself. We've talked about this in the past. How significant Chadwick was to the pop culture movement in terms of being a black man, being Black Panther, and giving kids, a superhero to look up to. Where the Captain America, whatever it is, being that representation. I know it's a lot of weight to put on your shoulders, going into a fight, but but are you proud to have that, be that inspiration for people, be that representation? Because you mentioned, it's kind of weird that we're at this point, we haven't had a black woman headline a UFC card, and you can be that for people. You can be that representation, that inspiration.
Yeah, I think when he died, I think, like everyone else, I started watching a lot of interviews that he had, um, talking about the significance of when Black Panther came out. And the one that really choked me up was the one when he was he was surprised at how important the film was to these two kids who were terminally ill. he was so surprised that it was that important to them. And that's kind of like I would never compare myself to like him, but when people do reach out and say, hey, my daughter looks up to you, my girlfriend loves you, my like I hope my daughters can be as strong as you are. Like when people reach out and say things like that, it's always surprising, but it just makes me feel so happy that I didn't give up. You know, like it gives me that extra push when I just want to be like, fuck it, you know, like, fuck it, this isn't worth it. It's too hard. Because fighting is hard. It's really hard. And it's even harder when your entire, like, every time I've lost, it's been on the UFC stage. I've never lost outside of the UFC. So having that magnifying glass on every win, but also every failure, it like people reaching out to me and saying stuff like that, like it's so special, and it's something that you can't is just something that you can't really explain. But you know, representation is such an important thing to so many people. And I remember like when I was a kid, and I would always want the black Barbie because I'm like, yeah, that's me. Or I would always, you know, watch Rugrats and get extra excited when Susie was on, you know. So it's just like one of those little things where people who aren't starved of it don't realize that they would miss it if they didn't have it, you know. If you are if you're white in America, you've never felt underrepresented, you know. But it's a thing that's important, especially when especially in times like this where you feel like your people are being treated less than human. So yeah, it's so sad, the death of Chadwick Boseman. And I think it was really, I think it was really crazy how strong he was. The fact that he kept all that to himself. The fact that he was fighting cancer for so long, and yeah, it's just another sad loss. It's horrible, but definitely his story is given a lot of people strength, including me. Just seeing that you never know who you're inspiring, and just by going about your day, just by trying to be the best you that you can be, you never know who's looking at that and taking inspiration from that. So yeah, that's I guess that's all I have to say about that.
And last thing for me, Angela, we're in a weird time with with you know where we're doing the weigh-ins tomorrow, and you know we're not going to get the crowd, things like that. You are a person who always has the best weigh-ins, the best walkouts, things like that. I know a little bit of the creativity stamped down with the uniform and things, but anything planned for this main event? Any hints you can give us of what you got in the works for tomorrow or Saturday?
Nah, I gave that up a while ago. You know who's really great? Susie, our makeup artist with the UFC, and she's fighting cancer right now too. And she would always hook me up with the war paint, with the Black Panther war paint and stuff for weigh-ins, because we can't really do that much with the Reebok uniform. Like we can maybe wear a wig or paint our face, but that's about it. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it to the pros. I'll get back to that stuff when Susie's back and working with us. I know she'll pull through, but yeah, nothing planned. Just gonna stare this girl down and imagine what it's gonna look like when I punch her in the face.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you so much, Angela. That is all the time we had for you.
Oh my gosh, thank you.